Alright guys, welcome back. GM Light here. Today we're going to be talking about October horror movie releases you can expect to be seeing, where you can see them, when you can see them. So let's get into it. First on the list, this is kind of cheating a little bit because it technically comes out in September, but Saw X comes out September 29th, but it's going to be playing on throughout October, so I felt like it was a worthy inclusion on this list. Saw X is about when, hoping for a miraculous cure, John Kramer travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental medical procedure, only to discover the entire operation is a scam to defraud the most vulnerable. Armed with a newfound purpose, the infamous serial killer uses deranged and ingenious traps to turn the tables on the con artists. So I'm really excited to see this. If I'm posting this after I've already seen it and reviewed it, I haven't seen it yet, and I've reviewed the other 9 movies, so go on the channel if you want to see those. But this just feels like a perfect Halloween release. For years, the Saw movies came out every October, every Halloween. It was a tagline: if it's Halloween, it must be Saw, and they did that every year for 7 years, and then they did it in 2017 with Jigsaw. Spiral from the Book of Saw being the only not fall or October released Saw movie, and I guess now technically this was originally supposed to come out on October 27th, but because of Five Nights at Freddy's, it was obviously going to have to move. But this is just another Saw movie, the 10th in the franchise, and it's something that I think will be good classic Saw entertainment if you're into that, but if you're not, we got plenty of other options. Next up, just a quick mention for television. On October 3rd, Chucky Season 3 premieres. This is a natural extension of everything from Chucky Season 1 and 2. It looks like it's going to be taking place at the White House, and it's going to have Chucky in a whole new setting. I kind of hope that they tone things down with the silliness a little bit for this season, but some of the reports are saying that it retains that silliness, so I guess I'll just wait and see. But I'm still very excited to check it out, and if you're looking for any kind of Halloween or October type television, you're going to be getting that starting October 3rd, and it's going to be running each week of October. As well, on October 3rd, you're getting the home release of the movie Talk to Me, the Australian A24 horror hit. I haven't seen this movie yet, but I'm going to be checking it out once it's on home release, so you also have that option for that. But now getting to the brand new releases. So first up, October 6th is a pretty packed day, and it's causing a pretty packed weekend as far as releases. But first up, we're going to be talking about Pet Sematary Bloodlines. This is going to be a Paramount Plus exclusive release, and it's going to be a prequel to the 2019 remake of Pet Sematary. It's about, in 1969, a young Judd Crandall dreams of leaving his hometown of Ludlow, Maine behind, but soon discovers sinister secrets buried within. Judd is forced to confront a dark family history that will forever leave him connected to Ludlow. I really dig the 1989 Pet Sematary movie and really love the book. I even have a lot of love for the 2019 remake, and I'm interested to see what they do with this. I think that there's a lot of things that we could see that's standing unique within this franchise alone. Also, they have the opportunity to expand on the Timmy Baterman story. I was a little bit hesitant at first when they announced a prequel because we've seen this story in the remake, in the 1989 movie. Obviously, it's in the book, so I thought that, this might be unnecessary, but the trailer's gotten me a lot more excited. I've been interested for a while, and I'm always interested to see what's new if they do a new Pet Sematary. And I'm definitely rooting for this movie, but hopefully they do something unique, different, and it's high quality, because I will say that that trailer actually does look like it's a theatrical quality horror movie. It doesn't look straight to DVD, it doesn't look cheap, it doesn't look like streaming fodder. So I'm very excited to see what they do with this movie. And like I said, it comes out on October 6th. Next up, in terms of big theatrical horror releases, you get The Exorcist Believer on October 6th. It's a direct sequel to the original Exorcist from 1973. Doesn't follow any of the canon or continuity of the sequels or the prequel. And this movie's about his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession. It unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. Although I'm kind of getting burned out on requels and doing these horror sequels that ignore all the continuity of the sequels and everything and just go directly from the first movie, the second trailer kind of sold me a bit more on this movie. I just thought the concept was so played out. I didn't really care about seeing Chris McNeil again, and even that aspect of the movie doesn't have me sold, but I'm at the very least interested to see what they do. David Gordon Green is directing this movie. He's very good with taking what worked about a franchise and applying it to a new age. A lot of the imagery looks pretty freaky, and it looks like it taps into what people found scary about that original. So I think that we could be in for a decent horror movie, a decent sequel, and and that's going to be in theaters on October 6th. Next up is VHS 85. I believe that this is the 6th VHS movie and the 3rd in the string of Shudder VHS movies that have been going on for the last 3 years now. It seems like this is going to be an annual thing that they do. VHS 85 is about a heart-pounding journey into the grim underbelly of the forgotten 80s through 5 tales of terror on a taped-over made-for-TV documentary. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know if I really have any interest in this franchise anymore. I really like the first 2, but I wasn't a big fan of what they did with the 4th movie. I didn't check out the one from last year because it seems like they just get so hit and miss with these anthology ones. And with VHS, I'm just not sure if this movie will be for me. But hey, maybe I'll give it a chance. Maybe I'll check it out and enjoy some of it. Maybe they have some good anthology horror stories in it that I can enjoy. But this movie's kind of on the back burner for me. And again, it comes out October 6th on Shudder. Next up is another Shudder exclusive coming October 6th, Where Evil Lurks. I wasn't initially going to include this movie, but I heard from Cody Leach on Twitter talking about it that it is actually pretty good and interesting. I didn't even hear about this movie before that and wasn't going to include it on the list, but he said that there's an interesting take on possession in this movie, so I thought that it would be a worthy inclusion on the list. It's about a remote village where 2 brothers find a demon-infected man just about to give birth to evil itself. They decide to get rid of the man, but merely succeed in helping him to deliver the inferno. I don't have too much to add to this conversation because I really don't know a whole lot about this movie besides what he talked about on Twitter and just looking up this premise, but it sounds interesting and it might be a good original horror movie, which would be nice to see around this October season. Obviously, we're getting a lot of sequels, prequels, additions to franchises, but it would be cool to also get some original horror movies on top of what we're already getting. So we're going to be getting Evil Lurks October 6th on Shudder. But on top of that, another October 6th release date, which that's like 6 horror movies on one day. Totally Killer going to Hulu. It's a Blumhouse movie. The premise is about when 35 years after the shocking murders of 3 teens, an infamous killer returns on Halloween night to claim a 4th victim. When 17-year-old Jamie comes face to face with the masked maniac, she accidentally time travels back to 1987. Forced to navigate the unfamiliar culture, Jamie teams up with her teenage mother to take down the psycho once and for all. So what sounds fun about this movie, it kind of reminds me of one of those Christopher Landon type horror movies like Freaky or Happy Death Day, where they have fun with kind of a comedy or familiar premise but put a slasher twist on it. I also like the idea of a new horror icon that they want to add to their list of kind of rogues gallery with the Blumhouse horror characters. This isn't my most anticipated or anything, but I'm still very interested to check out, see what this movie is all about. It sounds like a fun enough premise. It sounds like it's a good classic October horror movie, and again, another original movie to get excited about. I'm generally a fan of what Blumhouse does. They could be hit or miss. They could have a lot of low quality movies, but this sounds like something very much in line with what I like about Blumhouse doing. So again, that's also on October 6th, and it comes out on Hulu. Moving on to our final October 6th 2023 horror release date, Aberant. I don't know a whole lot about this movie, but the premise reads as follows. An estranged couple takes a retreat in the woods. Foreboding neighbors, frivolous friends, and dark unforeseen forces lead to a shocking conclusion. So again, I don't really know a whole lot about this movie. It's totally original. It's not building off anything, so I think that this movie has the potential to kind of be a sleeper hit, a nice little original surprise, which I love when we get that. We got a lot of those last year. Movies like X, Smile, things like that, where these movies kind of came out of nowhere with just a very original premise and just make for a nice addition to the October season. There could be a good mystery that unwinds and surprises, so this movie does have a good shot of being an exciting new release. But now moving kind of ahead to October 27th, this movie called The Suitable Flesh. It's about when psychiatrist Elizabeth Derby becomes obsessed with helping a young patient suffering extreme personality disorder, leads her into a dark occult danger as she tries to escape a horrific fate. It's a movie I was a little bit unfamiliar with, but I heard a few people talk about it. I heard my cousin talk about it. It got me more interested in it. And I'm always just, I have my ears open for movies that have the potential to surprise me, movies with an original premise or something that sounds interesting. So this just seems like another one of those movies that I think could surprise me and a lot of other people if it turns out to be good. It seems like that movie's coming out theatrically, but it probably will have a limited release. There's not a whole lot of details on what's going on with it, so things could change in the coming month. But for the obvious choice, what will probably be the biggest horror movie of October, and maybe even the year, Five Nights at Freddy's. This movie has been anticipated for well over 8 years at this point. They've been talking about it. It's fought through directors, writers. Obviously, there was a lot of drama with Scott Cawthon not accepting a lot of the scripts that were being written for this movie, but it seems like the stars aligned, they got things right, they got everything together, and we're finally getting this movie. Five Nights at Freddy's is about a troubled security guard beginning working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. During his first night on the job, he realizes that the night shift won't be so easy to get through. Pretty soon, he will unveil what actually happened at Freddy's. Now, I've talked about this movie a lot. I'm obviously very excited to see it. I'm kind of interested to see what happens with the dual Peacock and theatrical release, which is where you can watch them. If you want to get the theatrical experience, you could go to the theaters and see it. If you want to watch it from home, you have that option on Peacock day and date. But I'm wondering how lore heavy they're gonna go. It seems like they have a fascination in exploring that lore and a lot of the background stuff. I didn't think that they would drop that in a first movie. I thought that that would maybe be reserved for sequels. So I guess we'll just have to see with that. But until then, it's looking like Five Nights at Freddy's will probably be the biggest horror movie of the season. And that's a wrap. Which one of these are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. I'm GM Light. Have a good one.